She hated New York winters the way some people hate exes who still text at 3 a.m., personally, viciously, and without hope of reconciliation. Snow wasn't romantic to Evelyn. It was just frozen water that made the subway stairs lethal and turned every sidewalk into a gray slush river. That evening she trudged across the Brooklyn Bridge with her black wool coat buttoned to the throat, cheeks raw, thinking only of the bottle of red waiting in her Dumbo loft and the freelance invoice she still hadn't been paid. Another day survived. Halfway across, the wind cut straight through her. She ducked under the first working street lamp she saw, an old iron thing with a flickering bulb that painted everything the color of weak tea. She fumbled for the cigarettes she'd sworn were gone, found one crumpled survivor, and tried to shield the lighter from the gale. Click. Nothing. Click. Nothing. Her fingers were turning the color of printer paper. "Let me," came a voice, low and a little amused. A woman stepped into the small circle of light. Dark gray coat, camel scarf wrapped so many times it looked like armor, snowflakes melting on long auburn hair that refused to stay contained. She took the lighter without waiting for permission, cupped her gloved hands around it like a secret, and produced a steady flame on the first try. Evelyn leaned in. The tip of the cigarette glowed. She inhaled once, mostly out of spite, then immediately regretted it. The stranger's eyes, gray-green like the East River in December, studied her with something between curiosity and recognition. "You don't smoke," the woman said. Not a question. Evelyn exhaled smoke and honesty at the same time. "Trying to remember why I ever did." The woman smiled, small and crooked. "Vanilla lotion. That's why I noticed you this morning at devotion on the Williamsburg side. You were drawing on a napkin and smelled like dessert." Evelyn felt heat crawl up her neck that had nothing to do with a cigarette. She'd spent 20 minutes that morning sketching the curve of a stranger's hand holding a coffee cup, the same hand that was now returning her lighter. "I'm Leah," the woman said, tugging the scarf down just enough to reveal a mouth made for low-lit rooms. "And you're the reason I've walked this bridge 3 times today hoping physics would be kind." Evelyn laughed despite herself. It sounded rusty. "Physics owes me money." They started walking again because the wind was a tyrant and standing still felt like punishment. Leah lived in one of the old red brick walk-ups off Washington Street, the kind with radiators that clinked like they were arguing with the building. She talked easily. Sound engineer for narrative podcasts, cat named Mars who insisted on being Big Spoon, lifelong hatred of the F train between York and J. Evelyn listened more than she spoke. She always did. Words felt expensive lately. At the stoop the snow had turned serious, thick silent flakes that swallowed sound. "Come up," Leah said. "I make a mean bergamot tea, and I need to know if you like cats, or if I should lock Mars in the bathroom for national security reasons." Evelyn hesitated exactly 2 heartbeats. "He can stay. I'm only dangerous to myself." The apartment was small, warm, and smelled like cedar and something baking. Records leaned in uneven towers. A mixing board glowed softly on the desk. Mars, a dignified gray tabby, opened one eye from his throne on a velvet pillow, decided Evelyn was acceptable, and went back to sleep. Leah kicked off her boots, hung both their coats like it was the most natural thing in the world, and put the kettle on. They sat at the tiny kitchen table under a single hanging bulb that turned everything gold. Silence settled, not awkward but careful, like 2 people learning the weight of a new language. Evelyn stared into her mug. "I should tell you I'm not good at this. Whatever this is." Leah traced the rim of her own cup. "Define this." "Meeting someone under a lamp, like we're in a movie. Feeling something that feels like standing too close to a fire after 2 years of being cold." Leah's eyes softened. 2 years ago, my fiancé decided she was straight, moved to Portland with a man who gets her in a way I never did, and left me with a lease, a cat, and a playlist I still can't listen to. So, I'm not exactly winning at this either. Evelyn looked up. The air between them felt suddenly thin. "I kept her hoodie," she admitted. "Still smells like her if I don't wash it." Which is insane. "I kept her vinyl of Joni Mitchell's Blue," Leah said. "Still plays perfectly." Also insane. They laughed, the kind that hurts a little because it's been hiding too long. Outside, the snow kept falling, erasing footprints, muffling sirens, turning the city into a hushed secret. Inside, the radiator clanked its approval. Leah reached across the table and brushed a snow-wet strand of hair from Evelyn's forehead. Her fingers lingered. "I don't want to be a rebound," she said quietly. "I don't have anything left to rebound with," Evelyn answered. The kiss, when it came, was inevitable and terrifying and perfect. They met halfway over the table, chairs scraping, tea forgotten. It started soft, almost polite, two people asking permission with their lips. Then Evelyn made a small wounded sound and Leah answered it by sliding her hand into Evelyn's hair, pulling her closer. The scarf Leah still wore brushed Evelyn's cheek like a promise. They tasted bergamot and smoke and something new. When they broke apart, foreheads still touching, snow light sliding across their faces from the window, Leah whispered, "Stay." Evelyn, who hadn't spent the night anywhere but her own bed in 730 days, said yes. They moved to the couch without turning on more lights. Mars relocated to the windowsill to judge the weather. Evelyn let Leah unwrap her like a gift she wasn't sure she deserved. Coat, sweater, the armor of scarves and silence. There was no rush, only discovery. Fingertips tracing collarbones, breath catching when Leah kissed the hollow of Evelyn's throat, the way Evelyn's hands shook when she untied Leah's hair and watched it spill like dark water over both of them. Later, much later, wrapped in a blanket that smelled of cedar and them, they lay on the rug because the couch had become too small for everything they were feeling. Snow pressed against the glass like it wanted in. "I'm scared," Evelyn said into Leah's shoulder. "I know," Leah answered, fingers drawing slow circles on her back. "Me too. But I'm more scared of waking up tomorrow and pretending I didn't meet you under that stupid lamp." Evelyn laughed, watery and real. "It really is a ridiculously cinematic lamp. It deserves its own Oscar category." Morning came white and hushed. They woke tangled, sunlight sneaking through the blinds in shy stripes. Mars walked across both of them like a furry reminder that the world still existed. Leah made coffee strong enough to resurrect the dead. Evelyn stole one of Leah's oversized sweaters and decided she was keeping it. Weeks blurred. They learned each other in small, sacred pieces. How Evelyn took her coffee black, but tea with entirely too much honey. How Leah sang in the shower, off-key and fearless. The way Evelyn's eyes went soft when she sketched on the train. How Leah's voice dropped half an octave when she was concentrating on a mix. They walked the bridge whenever the weather allowed, stopping under that same lamp to kiss like teenagers who'd just invented the concept. One night in early spring, when the snow had finally surrendered, they stood there again. The lamp still flickered, stubborn and golden. "This is where I stole you," Leah said, arms around Evelyn's waist from behind. "No," Evelyn answered, turning in the circle of her arms. "This is where I came back to life." She kissed Leah under the light that had seen everything. The coldest night, the first spark, the slow, terrified yes that turned into love. Snow no longer fell, but the city held its breath anyway, because some moments are too perfect to be rushed. And somewhere above them, the old lamp kept burning, steady now, as if it finally understood its purpose was never to light the bridge. It was to light the way home.